Well, here we go, guys. It's September 17th, 2020, and we got a great show for you guys today. We're talking world record bass fishing, the spinning rod guru, and a whole bunch of fall tactics with California kid, Major League Fishing pro, Cody Meyer. All that and more right here for you live on Bass 365. Well, there we go, guys. It's mid-September, and we got a lot of stuff cooking. As always, I'm Mikey Moser, and of course, with me, as always, is the man himself, Ricky B.
What's happening,
What's
guys?
up, Ricky? Ricky, before we do anything, I got to admit, I am incredibly jealous of you today. I mean, not like I'm always am anyway, but you got to do something unbelievable today. If guys, this whole live thing is pretty new to a lot of us here, and we're getting the kinks worked out. But we have the ability to go live on the water, and you got to go. We're not talking where you were, but you got to go live on the water fishing with Kevin Van Dam today.
Absolutely. We had a blast. Well, he had a blast. I got to do a lot of filming and watching. Guys, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
He's unbelievable. Unbelievable. But sorry.
We'll have a little video here shortly on the day and some fish catches, some epic fish catches. Some pike, some drum, some carp, you name it, he caught them.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. Kevin's a good guy and a hell of a fisherman.
Oh man, he's arguably the best there ever of all time.
Of all times. But that being said, we've got another straight hammer we're getting ready to bring on here, guys. So if you've ever had a question about how to fish with a spinning rod, stay tuned, and we'll get those questions asked for you.
Absolutely.
Bring them on in, Mikey.
We're continuing our West Coast swing here, apparently. So here it is, guys. California kid, Major League Fishing pro, Cody Meyer. What's up, Cody?
No, not much. What are you guys up to?
Cody, what's happening, brother?
Ricky, hey, you just mentioned how people would love to be Ricky today. Well, I've been that guy fishing with Ricky. I think it's more of an honor to fish with Ricky than about anyone in the world. Hey, you're going to learn a lot of stuff from Ricky.
That's right.
Don't let him tell any different.
Especially that daggone drop shot.
If Ricky has a spinning rod in his hand, I mean, it's confusing because he will hold it and try to reel it upside down. But
oh no, he's not that guy. Is he that guy?
He's that guy. But once he gets the hang of it, you're in for a treat because he's about to spank you with it.
Yeah, whatever.
And like I always say, you always got to be willing to learn. And if he can teach me how to fish with a spinning rod upside down the proper way, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn that.
Yeah, man, no, that's pretty incredible fishing with Kevin Van Dam. I think all of us, myself included, for the last 20 years, you've been mesmerized by Kevin Van Dam. I've never got to fish with him. I've been around him a little bit. I got to apologize. I'm standing outside a house right now. My kids right now are making a crazy loud ruckus inside. So I'm going to do you guys the honor of standing outside. But, Kevin, like you say, that's amazing. I would love to fish them. I would love to learn something from them. And, but hey, let's talk about being on the show. I'm glad.
Well, I think that's the coolest thing about what Ricky got to do today. Yeah, it's awesome to fish with Kevin. The guy is a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, he's the GOAT. He really has been, and he's been for a long time. But you got to do that live. So it wasn't even just Ricky. We all got to experience that too. On the water, we got to watch him catch a couple nice big stud smallmouth out there. He gave us a whole bunch of his tips. I think that's awesome. So having the show like we're having right now, this live cast is really cool. But the fact that we can bring that on the water and actually learn from you guys real time, that's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I would say you think about when I grew up, there was no internet like this. I mean, the internet was just kind of a thing, and you had to learn everything. There's no GPS when I started fishing. And to come to where we're at now, where you can actually watch, there's no secrets on some of the stuff. Major League Fishing, you can't really hide anything. So the learning curve, I think, with anglers is so fast right now, so unbelievable that everyone right now is a better fisherman because of the stuff like we have on MLF.
Absolutely. I agree with that, to be honest. I mean, there's the internet, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. It doesn't really matter where you're getting the information from. There's so much out there. You got to be a little bit careful where you're getting some of this from, because it can be pretty easy to persuade somebody to believe that you know what you're talking about. I mean, I come from the YouTube world, so I mean, I got a lot of people that believe me, but now having you guys at our disposal to be able to learn directly from you guys, that's it. I mean, if I get a choice to learn from me or to learn from you, I'm following you every day.
What about if you can learn from Ricky?
That's right.
Well, there's a ton that we all can learn from Ricky. I don't know.
This is just a continuation of the beating I take all the time, and I absolutely love it, Cody. So
hey, Ricky, we love
you. Are the man.
Yeah. Ricky teaches me life lessons too.
Life lessons, possibly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I mean, speaking of, the lessons that you whoever taught whoever here or whatever, one thing that Ricky's really told me, I'm fairly new to meeting you. I only got to meet you a couple times myself, so I'm still getting to know Cody Meyer on a personal level. But Ricky talks all the time about your spinning rod game and how darn good you are with that spinning rod. And I think that's something really cool that a lot of our viewers are really going to be interested in, to be honest. Like, I mean, you enjoy using your spinning rod. Would you prefer to throw a spinning rod over a baitcaster yourself?
No, I do not prefer it. Hey, I would rather throw a frog on 65-pound braid, a big swim bait, punch, chatterbait, something like that. But growing up on the West Coast, California has some of the deepest, clearest water lakes in the entire country. And if you don't throw a spinning rod, you just, plain and simple, you'll never compete in a tournament. So growing up for me, Lake Oroville, Lake Shasta, deep, clear spotted bass lakes, got really comfortable, really familiar throwing a spinning rod. And, over the last couple of years, I think you see a lot more guys doing it. You're not, how do I say this? Years ago, a buddy of mine from Texas, he would call me all kinds of names, and I was kind of like the outcast because I would start the first cast in the morning at tournaments with a spinning rod. And but on highly pressured fish, clear water lakes, it's how you got to get bit a lot of times. So I think it's evolved from, you were kind of like the guy getting made fun of to now. You see a lot more guys doing it, but I have a ton of confidence in throwing it. Love throwing light line. I enjoy throwing it. It's not what I would start to do, but there's been many times where for entire tournament, I've never put a spinning rod down and caught a ton of bass on it, and big ones, really big ones too. I've caught 10-pounders on it.
That's really, I mean, that's great to hear. Honestly, I think most of us growing up and into the fishing, as we get into it, we all started off with that spin cast, closed face spin cast reel, and then we worked into a spinning rod. And there's still a lot of anglers. he's got a Snoopy rod, I heard. I think he fishes with one of them, not the Barbie rod. He upgraded to the Snoopy rod now.
That's right.
But a lot of people they get comfortable with that spinning rod and they don't move past it. Or the first couple times, let's face it, a bait caster it's harder to use. You got a lot more components working with it, the backlashes and things. And I think people first pick them up get frustrated. They get frustrated and they put it down and they pick that spinning rod up and they say, I can do everything I can do with a spinning rod. I don't need to learn how to use a bait caster. I don't believe that's necessarily true. I don't know how many people that fish on your level would believe that either. But is there any situation where you would say I can do anything I can do with a baitcaster with a spinning rod?
No. Throwing. I know a guy, an old time guy on the West Coast, Leroy Burlaro is his name, and gosh, he would throw everything: California Delta, frog, flip, punch, all with a spinning rod. Now, if you can use a casting rod, you have a little bit more control. You can upsize your line. So I don't believe you can do everything with the spinning rod, but let me tell you, anything that involves finesse fishing, light knot line, it basically has to be done on a spinning rod to effectively fish the bait right. One thing, when you go to a casting rod, it's easier to overwork the bait. You can't use as heavy line, and it doesn't, for me, a drop shot, stuff like a little Ned rig or something like that, you just don't get as many bites when you're throwing on a casting rod. So that's why, myself, I prefer a spinning rod. But I'll tell you, like I say, some of these situations we see, you go to a Table Rock, you see it on the northern swings, up in Wisconsin, New York, everyone's throwing a spinning rod. It's because a lot of those fish, they see a lot of baits, are highly pressured, and basically that lighter line is about the only way you're going to consistently get bites. And over the last couple of years, you've seen it, guys like David Dudley, Porosnik, myself. We laugh about it, the wacky worm, a Cinco style bait, throwing that. I mean, it's not the sexiest way to fish, but it works. It gets so many bites. And for me, at the end of the day, if I'm struggling, I don't have a limit, or I just can't get a bite, 100% I will rely on a spinning rod to catch more fish, like I say. And I mean, even down like Florida, I've seen situations where,
Yeah, absolutely.
you're on a big grass flat, everyone's throwing braid, 20-pound fluoro, 15-pound is like finesse fishing down there, and you grab a spinning rod with, 8-pound test, throw a little wacky worm around, and you get a lot of bites. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
anything you could take from this is you can't be afraid to throw it. You have to be more open and not let your friends make fun of you, because at the end of the day, you will catch more fish than your buddy. I promise you, with the spinning rod. Most situations.
Like exactly what you're saying. I'm a Florida guy. I fish here in Florida. I live in Florida, and every time I go out on the water, I'll carry a minimum of 6 to 8 rods, but I always have at least one spinning rod with me, no matter
Sure.
what. And I've fished with guys that laugh like, "Why are you even bringing that?" There's times, yeah, most of the time I probably won't even touch it, but when I need it, I'd like to know that it's there. Like
Sure.
if I got to throw a weightless fluke, for example, I'm throwing it on a spinning rod. I can throw it on a bait caster, even with some lighter line and stuff, but I can work it 100 times better on a spinning rod, and I
Sure.
get way more fish. So, same. I like to use my spinning rods for small top waters, like poppers and things like that. I just work it better on a spinning rod.
Yes.
Now, I guess I would say with this, for the people that are still, hung up on spinning rods, they don't want to go into the casting world. Is there a rod that you would recommend? Say this is my everyday go all. I can fish a Ned rig. I can fish a wacky rig. What would you recommend on someone wanted to go out and buy a new spinning outfit? What should they get?
So there's a general rule of thumb. Nowadays you want a little bit longer rod. I throw a 7'4" Daiwa Tattoo Elite. I actually have it right here. Daiwa Tattoo Elite. It's a rod I designed. It's I don't know if this will show up here.
Mikey, can we get him on full screen?
Yeah, let's do that.
We're still figuring this system out, Cody.
Hey, no worries. Okay, so it's a Daiwa Tattoo Elite. Let's go up here. It's a 7'4" versatile rod. I'm gonna tell you guys. You can see that signature. That's it's not Ricky. Okay, it's me. But I'll tell you, 90% of the stuff I throw on a spinning rod is on that rod. The only time I will go away from that is I'm throwing, real light line, real lightweight on a drop shot. Then I have a finesse rod, 7 foot. So I prefer the 7'4". It's a medium action rod. Like you just mentioned, a wacky worm, a fluke, throwing little top waters, little crankbaits, drop shot, especially in heavier drop shot, Ned rig. Again, 90% of everything I throw on that rod, it's really the perfect action. Now, when you're talking spinning rods, there's thousands of them on the market.
Yeah.
But the reason I feel like the Daiwa Tattoo Elite so good is we went through probably 25, 30 samples of that blank. It's a perfect parabolic action of the blank. And what I mean by parabolic, you don't want a rod that's too stiff, that's just too much tip. You run the full rod to flex. You're using a 6 to an 8, 10-pound test. So you don't want that thing too tip heavy, too much backbone, too soft to the tip. You just want a real fast action. That's when you're reading these rods, you see extra fast, XX fast, slow, whatever they are. But I prefer that medium parabolic bend of that rod. That way you're going to get a solid hook set. And remember, guys, when you're fishing a spinning rod, you're not punching. You're not throwing a frog. You're skin hooking most of these fish. You're going to I prefer to use a lighter wire, lighter gauge hook, you know, an owner, whatever hook I'm throwing, a drop shot hook or a tube hook. And that way you're skin hooking these fish. What I mean by that, you're barely hooking them in the roof of the mouth. You're going to keep pressure on them with that rod. That's how you're going to land a lot more. You know, when you start putting too much pressure, you run the risk of breaking them off, pulling that hook out. So having the right rod, like that Daiwa Tattoo Elite 7.4 versatile rod, very, very crucial to my success, to hooking more fish, but landing them. And then while we're on the subject, you know, spinning reels, huge deal. You know, I'm a huge Daiwa guy. Really always have been, you know, going back to my days in high school, the old Daiwa Advantage reels, the drag on the Daiwa spinning reels from the high-end Daiwa Exist down to the Daiwa Tattoo LT, absolutely phenomenal. You don't have to spend all the money in the world to have literally the best drag. I mean, they kill the market on that. So why is the drag important? You know, you got that 8 pound test, you hook a big smallmouth, spotted bass, largemouth, and there's so much more that can go wrong with that combo than a casting rod. So that drag is your safety valve to not breaking some of these fish off. And those Daiwa drags are extremely smooth. You know, this is a Daiwa Exist on here. Just absolutely incredible. And, you know, another thing you're going to see with the spinning rod too. So I'm trying to figure out where the angle is here to show you guys, but I love a braid. You know, this is a Daiwa J braid. This is an X8 chartreuse color. This is a 10 pound test. So I go to a braid to a Daiwa J Fluoro Samurai leader. You can see it's a fluorocarbon leader. And why the chartreuse is on there is how many times, if you throw a dark braid, well, you throw it out there, that braid will be sinking. It will be overcast, say, and you never see the braid or the bait hit the bottom. And you're counting, going, man, I didn't think it was that deep, letting it out. And then the whole time there's a fish on there. So that chartreuse line is going to help you see when that bait hits the bottom sooner. It's going to really help as a strike indicator as well. Plus, it just helps you fish more effectively. And then I go to a fluorocarbon leader. That is the combo. I mean, I was hesitant about that combo for years. I was a straight fluorocarbon guy. And really, over the last 10 years, I've gone to the braid to fluoro. I'll tell you what, saves you a ton of money, a lot of headache with line twist, and your hookup ratio goes through the roof with that combo like that.
So, Cody, while we're on that subject of line, I know we had some exciting news this year with you and a line change.
Yes.
And maybe just touch on the knot that you use for your braid to fluoro.
Absolutely.
Yes. So the number one knot is the FG knot. Okay, that's by far the number one knot. Now, that takes a lot of patience, a lot of work. The best way to do it is get on YouTube, sit down, have nothing to do for about 3 hours, and you might get it down. So I will tie that if it's the night before the tournament. But when I'm on the water, I'm going to tie the double Albright, knot. You're going to take a loop of the line. You're going to go down, wrap it down 6 to 8 times, wrap it back 6 to 8 times, and come from the bottom to the top. And make sure you get it wet and cinch it down. One problem a lot of guys have with fluorocarbon when they're pulling their knot, you want to pull that thing really, really tight. And I mean, I'm talking, you pull it hard to the verge of where it's going to break, you feel like, and then cut that. I take some little Cuda scissors, something really sharp. You cut that fluorocarbon tag as close as you possibly can, and then pull tighter. That's what's going to give you wind knots. That's what's going to give you headaches out on the water. So if you can eliminate that, really cut that down, you're going to save yourself a ton of time. You're not going to be yelling on the water, and it's just going to be smoother and save you a lot of time throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the benefits with the braid are huge going to that. I mean, it's just more sensitive than anything else. And I believe, honestly, most of the time when you're fishing spinning equipment, you have a fair amount of slack as well as the parabolic, softer bend of that rod. So having that sensitivity of that braid to me is really important.
Very important.
Yeah. And I've never been, I'm much like you. I was a straight fluoro guy. I'd never been much for wanting to tie leaders just because the best knot in the world, yeah, I agree, is the FG knot, but it takes a long time, and it's still just one more place that can fail. You know, and
100%.
I'm not, I was never a risk taker, but after learning the FG knot and taking my time with it, and it took a long time and a lot of practice, and I'm still not very good at it, but there are some great videos out there on it. I built confidence, and that's like anything in fishing, confidence is key. So
Sure.
that's fantastic. Now, I heard you say too, you caught big fish on that spinning rod.
Yes.
Now, you said 10-pounder. There is a great story out there. But is this the 10-pounder that we're talking about? The world record 10-pounder? Is that the one you caught? Was that on the spinning rod?
It was, yeah. So I've caught multiple 10-pounders on a spinning rod, 3 of them to be exact. But that spotted bass, I'll walk you guys through this story. So I just told a guy, Ken Duke, the same story. He had a question about it, and he's going to be doing an article. It's pretty cool. But I'll take you back to this day, guys. So I just signed a deal with tacklewarehouse.com. They sent me a bunch of shirts. It was on a Northern California lake called Bullard's Bar. And this thing was absolutely massive. December 16th, 2016. I remember the day because I've had 2 40-plus pound 5-fish limits of spotted bass on that exact day.
Spotted bass. That's incredible.
Yeah, so we go out there. I'm with my good buddy, J.R. Wright. And all we're looking for, this is a lake that these fish only eat kokanee. You're looking for, one big fish for a good photo opportunity. And the problem with these kokanee fish is they live out in the middle of the lake. They never really relate to. I was reading the guru, spotted bass guru, and mine just kind of went for blank there for a second. But they never.
We're going to coin that term.
Yeah. They never relate to the bottom. These fish live out in the middle of the lake, and so when they come up on one of these deep points, you have to seize the opportunity, seize the moment there and catch them. So pull up to our first spot. I happen to fire out there. I'm dragging on the bottom, and first fish of the day was a 666. I'm taking that as maybe this isn't the best way to start the day with a 666, but it's a spotted bass. I was stoked. I'm like, okay, we got a fish to do this right. I noticed, this is back in the day, Garmin Panoptics, not the live scope, but it just came out. I see a lot of them there. I throw back out there and I catch an 825. So now we have a 666 and an 825, 2 giant spotted bass, fish of a lifetime, both of them, especially the 8-pounder. And we're happy. So then we run around, those fish leave, hit 6 or 7 spots. Don't really care about the rest of the day because the day's made. Pull up to a spot. My buddy JR catches his personal best spotted bass, which was a 749 on this deep point that they're always kind of on. And then after that, I'll never forget that spotted bass. Boat was in about 200 feet of water. Now this point comes out. It's this long flat point, goes out roughly a mile out into the lake, way out in the middle. Those fish use that hump as an ambush point. Even though it's so deep, those trout will migrate over the top. The salmon will, the kokanee. And I saw that fish on Panoptics out there at the time. I fired out there. I watched that fish come up out of about 35 feet of water and eat that thing. And I remember setting the hook. And I've caught, this is not a brag or anything, but, probably 100 bass over 8 pounds. Spotted bass, over my career here on this lake. And so I know that sounds absolutely stupid, but it's the truth. And I hooked this big one, and I remember thinking, man, I don't know if it's a big squaw fish or a bass, but whatever it is, it's absolutely humongous. I mean, the difference in weight between an 8-pounder and an almost an 11 is crazy. And so I fought it, finally came up. And we net this thing. We waited at the time, it weighed 11 pounds right there in the boat. And I was shaking so bad that I didn't know what happened. So I called my buddy, Tim Little, at the time, California Wildlife Game Warden. He is Tactical Bass, him and Matt Allen. If you guys have seen their YouTube channel, they do just fantastic stuff.
Yeah, they
and
do.
I went to high school with Tim. And so he's 3 hours away. He has the world record spot at the time, or the California record, whatever it was, of 1048. And I said, man, I weighed this thing. It's 11 pounds. And he drove all the way up there knowing that this bass would potentially beat his record. And as I'm on the phone with them, I'm holding the phone. I fire back out there. I see another one. I hook another one, talking to him. I said, Tim, I'm going to let you talk to JR. I got another big one. And I end up catching an 835 as I'm on the phone. And so our biggest five, 666, 825, 749, 1080, and then 835. So
Wow.
huge bag. But that was the day. That was unbelievable. Caught that fish on 6 pound. Again, spinning rod. All those fish were, and again, the right combo of, the reel, Daiwa reel. That was a Daiwa. I believe that was a Daiwa Steez at the time. And then it was that exact rod. It was actually a prototype during the process. And that's when you got it right with the spinning
Wow.
rod.
That's dialed in.
That's dialed in. So, just had some fantastic days. And again, I always rely on the spinning rod. Ricky knows this, as long as he's known me, that I've always gone back to it. Something I have a lot of confidence in. And guys really need to, fish it more, in my opinion, to get more bites. I've seen it too many times where it out, fishes other baits. Now, again, it's not like it's flipping a mat or something like that. Something really, really fun, but tournament angler to survive. I caught at my career at FLW 50 straight limits, or 52, I think it was, which like a 4-year period where every day I caught a limit, and it set a record there, and something I'm proud of. And I'm sure half those fish were caught on a spinning rod, but it definitely gets you paid in tournaments. And it's not probably the best way to catch them in a tournament. Let's be honest, when you're fighting them, it's taking forever. But if you just go out there, you're taking your kids or girlfriend or whatever it is, and you're having fun, there's really not a better way to catch them and have those things fight and go crazy and enjoy the battle than a spinning rod.
So, Cody, where were we at last year when we got caught in that storm? We were out filming some stuff. What lake was that?
I think that was Winnebago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. So Cody and I went out to shoot some video at Winnebago, and he had done. Where did you finish? You did very well in the tournament.
Yes, I don't remember. It was after one group. I finished third in the round in Group A or B, and then finished in the 20s overall there.
But we roll out Mikey to fish this little spot that he had caught him in during the tournament, and literally the water was so shallow with the motor trimmed up, you couldn't even hardly get over to the docks he was fishing. Gin clear, and he was taking that dang wacky rig and skipping it. I mean, before I could even blink, I think he had caught 20. And it's like, dude, really, you got to give me a break. This has happened so many times that it's not funny. I can go on and on. So my point there is, don't be scared to throw the spinning rod in shallow, clear water. If you get good at it, it will make you a better fisherman. Bottom line, it will make you a better fisherman. And you might think you can go out there and just dive around with that little wacky worm, but it don't work like that. It takes some time and experience and drop shot too to get to understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the biggest issue is patience. I am a power fisherman, and I always have been. I'm like you said, Cody. Give me a frog, give me 65-pound test line, and I'm happy out there. But the patience that's required to fish a wacky rig or even a weightless Senko, a drop shot, I lack that. I lack that experience. That's for sure.
Sure. Yeah, it's hard to do. One of the big things here on the West Coast is throwing a wacky rig, in some of these deep clear water lakes. So throw a big swim bait, giant swim bait, 10, 12 inch, on trying to, draw up some 3-4 pound spotted bass. And all you're doing is you're having that fish come up, show themselves. And then we come back, turn around, throw a wacky rig later in the day or the following day in a tournament. But a lot of the ways we catch those is firing that bait out there, letting it sink down 10, 15, 20 feet over, really deep water, which is painstaking to do, but it's truly one of the best ways to catch some of those big ones that are suspended. Yeah. And it's not something that comes easy for sure, but something we have a lot of confidence. I do. And I enjoy fishing like that. And I've had some experiences with MLF where you're doing that and you're just lighting up the score tracker and it's definitely worth it at the end there.
Absolutely. And you've done well recently. I mean, all this experience has paid off for you because you just had a couple giant tournaments, not just with MLF and BPT, but also with FLW, these super tournaments where you're fishing on, Lake St. Clair or Lake Erie and Lake Michigan, deep water, smallmouth bass. And we're definitely talking spinning rod territory out there. And you did fairly well on all those tournaments.
And a 5-fish limit as well. Not everything
Yes.
you catch counts.
Yeah, I'll talk about this one. Chickamauga, obviously Jacob Wheeler pounded our heads in. I mean, what's new there? But he was cranking, throwing hair jig, big stuff. He's the man there. I don't have a lot of experience, but I beat a lot of Tennessee River guys in that tournament. 200 boats. I fish purely 100% all community holes every day of that tournament. Finished 4th place there. Drop shot, wacky rig, stuff like that. And so you even think about a place like Lake Chickamauga, giant bass in there, but I'm out there on these community holes, going behind guys, in front of guys, on the side of guys, and just absolutely getting tons of bites a day, 30, 40, 60 fish a day, whatever it was. But it was a numbers thing. You kind of weed through those, and at the end of the day, had some good ones, 5-fish limit, finished the tournament in 4th place. So, that's a place where you go to Chickamauga, you're not thinking I'm going to end up throwing a spinning rod, and you don't feel like, this is what you should be doing, but we were catching plenty of fish out there and it had a really good event there. So that was a really good time.
Yeah,
so Cody, I know there was a new sponsor you wanted to kind of talk a little bit about. I saw it in your hand when you first came online, the Rapid Fishing Solutions hook all.
Yeah. I don't know where that thing went. Let's see here. Let me move this little bale of hay I got. Yeah, Rapid Fishing Solutions. This is a little hook all here. I was really intrigued by this guy. You can load these things up, this clear little disc on here. Makes, it's great for spinner bait, buzz bait, trailer, all kinds of stuff. Endless stuff. You'll see a bunch of videos from me, but I was really intrigued when I saw my hero Aaron Martins with it, years ago, trying to sorry, I'm trying to mess with this camera, but putting on a spinnerbait trailer hook. I thought, man, if Aaron's doing it, I got to do it. It's been 3 or 4 years I've been throwing it now. Really, really cool. This is stuff I believe in, but if you haven't seen this, you got to check it out. But this is something, for sure the rest of the year, next year we'll be talking about, but it saves you a ton of time, ton of money. And it's gonna help you, fish baits a little bit better and catch more fish.
It's rapidfishingsolutions.com.
Yep.
Got all sorts of cool little products and a lot of new stuff coming out.
Yeah, definitely.
What else, Mikey? What else have you got?
He kind of touched on it a little bit here, and I just put it up here. Whatever, it's worked well for him. And I know, Ricky, you told me in the past that you have done a video with him on this. We want to know, and our fans want to know, some of your favorite drop shot tricks.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Throw it out, hop it twice, set the hook. No,
that's about right.
That's what I'm doing wrong.
I had a Mike Reynolds used to fish the Bassmaster. I traveled with him for a year. He goes, fishing's easy. Throw it out, hop it twice, set the hook. Yeah, sure. Maybe for KVD. But drop shot tricks, there's a ton. It just depends on where you're going. But what I would say a big trick is I throw out a bunch on suspending fish, maybe schooling fish, and you don't think of a drop shot as that, but I'll downsize my weight, go to like an 1/8 ounce, a little Strike King tour grade tungsten weight, and you throw a little owner mosquito hook, nose hook, you fire it out, you swim it through them on a semi-tight line, you let that bait pendulum swing back through the water column, and something real small, finessey, gets a ton of bites. So It's one of those deals. That's a little trick. Shouldn't have told you guys, but I love you guys. So
we know it now, and you just told the world. You're
told
live.
the world, but that's one of those deals. They go down from schooling. They're blowing up on stuff, going crazy. Maybe the sun's up a little bit. They go back down. You can swim it through them, clean it up. Clean up that school, get a couple more bites. So other than that, general rule of thumb for me with the drop shot: lightest line possible. Lightest weight possible as well. The why I go with the lightest weight is the lighter the weight, the more action you'll get out of your bait. So the heavier the weight, It'll be on the bottom. It restricts the movement of that line when you're shaking it. So just keep that in mind. If you can throw it 3/16, you can throw it 8 over a quarter on a flat, calm day, you will get a few more bites at the end of the day.
That's awesome. And now we had those are some great tips there. And like I said, drop shot is one of the things that I just don't fish enough. I know how effective it is, but here in Florida, it's just not something that I get around to enough. But I should, because even if you got a weedy bottom, what's better than getting your bait up above that? Let the weight get down in there and get. To me, it makes a lot of sense. Just not comfortable with it yet.
Every state I've ever fished, I've caught a fish on a drop shot. I'll tell you that. Even Virginia, Ricky.
Even Virginia.
Even on the James River. Every state I've ever fished a tournament on in my entire life, I've caught a fish on a drop shot. So definitely works.
We had another California guy, Brent Ayler, on here on Tuesday, and we were talking a lot about the California dominance. You guys coming from California, you have such a versatile fisheries out there. Where you've got deep water, you've got rocky water, you've got shallow weedy water, you've got a bunch. So you guys seem to do really well just about anywhere you go. Whereas you take a Florida boy or a Southern boy and you put him up north on Lake Michigan, we were a little bit out of our element or whatnot. So I really think that helps. Now you've done well pretty much everywhere. You just talked about Lake Chickamauga. You did well up on the Great Lakes. You did well in La Crosse, Wisconsin on the Mississippi River. You've done, you're consistent. And I think that actually says that in your bio on FLW, one of the most consistent FLW anglers in history, Cody Meyer here. Does California, do you have an advantage being from California? Do you believe that?
You do. Actually, believe it or not, I don't even live in California anymore. I just moved to Idaho. But
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I just moved here last couple of weeks here, basically. But, 100%, I feel like I have an advantage growing up in California. And the reason why is very simple. We have Clear Lake where you go frog, you flip, you punch, huge swim baits, big top waters, one of the best fisheries in the entire world, if not the best. California Delta used to have tidal water fisheries. You learn how to fish current, how to bring your bait down naturally in the current. And then you go to an hour north or 2 hours north, you have world-class spotted bass fisheries, super light line. You learn how to catch them suspended, super deep, clear water. And then, there's so many options. You can go to the desert, you go to the Columbia River and fish big current smallmouth, come up to Idaho. There's tons of options. And I feel like, once you fish all those, over the years, you kind of learn how to do that.
Right.
Some of those techniques better and fisheries better. And so when you go back east, you basically have kind of seen it all, You have grass, you have rock, you have cactuses in the desert, you have roadrunner, whatever. You've seen it, kind of lived through there. And so it really helps you throughout my career. That has helped me growing up here, no doubt.
And I gotta add, always making sure you have a clean pair of socks.
Always, always make sure you have a clean pair of socks. Jeez almighty.
Well, what that kind of brings me to the next question. You touched on it, how much you have in California and how it's helped you all across the country. Now we don't see a lot of the big tours, Major League Fishing, Bass Pro Tour, FLW, Pro Circuit, or the Bass Elites hitting that West Coast too much anymore.
No.
Would you like to go fish tournaments back in the West Coast again, if you could?
Oh my gosh, yeah. They don't go there because Brent Ayler would dominate everyone. But no, I would absolutely love to fish these. And I'll tell you, it wouldn't even be that I have a big advantage on anyone. Honestly, the fishing is so good on the West Coast. And it's funny, I have guys time that man, I really want to fish FLW Tour. And go out there and you try it and you're like, man, the fishing's not that great. And I always laugh because we have a lot of these lakes are so used to just catching 50, 60 bass a day, out here. And there's just not as much fishing pressure. Fishing's really good. So I wouldn't really have an advantage, but to do it, I think everybody minus the drive would really, really enjoy themselves and just the Clear Lakes of the world, Lake Havasu, really cool places to fish. And just you would experience some world-class fishing. So I would love to do it. I wouldn't mind coming back and doing it. And I mean, hey, I've never been one to complain. I'll tell you guys.
That's right.
It could always be worse. You know, I drive from California to Florida to New York basically every year. And so I would love to go back and forth and do a West Coast swing if we can.
Mikey, here's another little Cody Meyer story. And I got a bunch of them, but this past year at the Bass Pro Tour, Kissimmee chain, we're battling, Cody's battling for the red crest, and had arguably the worst tournament of his career.
Yep.
He comes off the water and he's smiling. I'm like, dude, are you okay? He's like, it could be worse. I'm fishing for a living. And you know, if everybody would adopt the Cody Meyer attitude, this world would be a different place. And that's, you know, call it brown nose and call it what, but that's the truth. Cody is a class act.
I appreciate that. No, that was true. I blanked day one. I caught one day two. Finished basically last. Aaron Martin's is, I think, the only guy I beat, and Aaron wasn't even there. So I finished last in that tournament. Aaron almost beat me from his couch at home.
Right.
But hey, it could always be worse. I see guys that just complain and on every level, and it's like, man, we're out here, we're fishing, sun is shining, or it's raining, but we're here doing it. And I've always been very thankful to be doing it.
So what does the future hold for Cody Meyer fishing?
So next year I'm really excited. You know, I'm fishing Major League Fishing, Bass Pro Tour. I'm excited about that. Year 3 of that. And did the 3 FLW Super tournaments this year as well. I've been told by multiple guys that we can fish both tours. So 100% I'm going to go all in. I'm going to fish both tours. Yeah. It's going to be a ton of work. I'm hoping to bring my family to, you know, if we get like a month straight of being on the road, they will be with me there. But I'm gonna do it, man. I've started in FLW, love FLW, love Major League Fishing. Definitely want to do both of them. And I'm just a big fan. If you can't tell, the sport. I love the you know, catch all you can. I love 5 fish. I just love going fishing. So hopefully that works. It sounds like it will. And that's all I'm going to basically do next year, because any more than that, and it'll be too much.
That's right.
That's a lot. It's a lot. Like, being on one tour is a lot of travel. But, you know, I mean, you're not in California anymore, but you're still a long ways away from a lot of these destinations. But committing to both tours like that, we're doing the same. Ricky and I are doing the same with Bass 365. We're going to be at all the BPT events. We're going to be at all the FLW events, and we're going to try to do as many of the elite events, or at least have some coverage at all the elite events as well. So, I mean, it's a busy schedule for all of us. So kudos to you for doing that. And I'm super excited to see what you can come up with. Like, that's going to be some awesome fishing coming for everybody's way. One quick question on that. You know, you're traveling a lot with the FLW schedule has already come out. We haven't got the BPT schedule just yet or whatnot, but of all the lakes across the country, all the fisheries, rivers, doesn't matter where it is, if you could pick one place to have the next tournament at it, what is Cody Meyer's ultimate fishing destination?
Lake Shasta, California. No, honestly, that would be very selfish, because I love fishing there. You know, any of these West Coast lakes, Clear Lake, Shasta, Oroville, I would say that. But realistically, I would say like a Lake Lanier. You know, that place has got giant spotted bass. I love fishing spotted bass. I fished 3 events there. You know, they've all been in the top 10, but it's been very, very, very fun catching those 3 to 4 pound spotted bass all day. And I think we're overdue for going back there.
Lake Lanier. That's definitely a good one. That's definitely a good one.
Well, Mikey, let's wrap this thing up. Cody needs to get back to his family, and tell them all we said, hey, give Carrie a hug for me and the kids. And I guess we're going to see you in Florida the end of October or end of November.
Yeah, I'll be down there, and hopefully it's not raining like it is right now.
No, it's terrible.
And
it has not stopped for 2 weeks. Really, every day, like, my roads are flooded out, so it's ridiculous.
Well, I can tell you what, I'm not in California right now, but if there was ever a time that it needed to rain, it would 100% be right now. All the fires. But we need to I'm gonna enjoy some time off. Still been fishing a little bit, and I'll see you guys there for sure. Can't wait.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, Cody.
Well, tell everybody, because we enjoy talking to you and we love learning from you. You dropped some excellent knowledge on everybody out here today. Where can they find more? Where can everybody find more Cody Meyer?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Cody Meyer Angler. Very
That's
easy.
awesome.
If you go follow me, I will change your life forever in a positive way.
That is awesome. Everybody here, you just blew up the internet.
Hey,
right
he
now.
does a tremendous job on his social pages. I'm just saying.
He really does, and it's a pleasure talking to you. I love learning from you, and like I said, the wealth of knowledge that you have to be able to give to everybody is just tremendous. But it's the attitude and the perspective that you've got on the sport and life in general that just sets you bar none above everybody else out there. So really appreciate it.
Last thing, Mikey, we were going to talk a little bit about it, but we didn't feel like we were prepared. But on Cody's Facebook page and his Instagram page right now, there's a Hall of Fame sweepstakes. It's for an auction, I believe, and you can win a trip to fish with Cody. I think y'all will probably go to Lake of the Pines.
We could go anywhere. Yeah.
Lake of the Pines is life-changing, just saying that.
Yes.
But yeah, check him out on his social pages and check out the Hall of Fame auction that's going on.
Absolutely. There's a lot of great stuff going on out there. Cody, anything else you want to say? Any shout outs you want to give? Any last minute tips to anybody else?
Man, not really. It's I'd love to do this again for sure. Definitely have me back.
100%.
But yeah, man, no, just want to appreciate everyone for the support this year. Those that have supported me, if not, follow me for sure. But just really excited. Every year, I'll tell you what, guys, it's crazy. I've done this full time for 13 years, I think, or something like that. Your brain kind of loses it. But every year, it seems like I'm more excited about the next, and it makes the year go by really fast, which sucks. But, I mean, I definitely am not burnt out on it. Just like, hey, I can't wait for next year. I keep saying that, but I truly, truly mean that. And hopefully next year's, really, really good. And we get 2020 behind us and everyone catches a lot of fish.
That's awesome.
Cody, thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Pleasure talking with you, and we can't wait to see you out on the water again soon.
All right, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Cody.
Mike,
Well, there we go, Ricky.
How was that? I told you. Cody is one of the classiest guys out there on tour.
Absolutely.
And very humble
fisherman.
Very
and
humble.
The knowledge he's got to share with us is just incredible out there. I am so excited. If I'm going to go enter that
sure.
Whatever's going on for the Hall of Fame, I'm going to enter it. I know if I win, everyone will hear it or whatever. But I want to win a trip with Cody,
right.
And I want to go catch some of those spots, man. That's incredible.
The other thing is, Cody's attitude is just phenomenal. I mean, it really is. And I keep going back to that day at Kissimmee, where he had a year-changing event. He had I don't know the last time that he ever caught one fish in a tournament or two or however many it was, but it just amazed me how calm, cool, and not in a bad mood he was. Where if it was me, I probably would have been a guy you didn't want to be around that night.
100%. You definitely would not want a camera on me. That's
right,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
So guys, do yourself a favor. Go follow Cody on all his on all his platforms, and I know he's got some really exciting news that'll be coming up towards the end of the year with several different things. We'll be having him back on soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ricky, I know you've been friends with him for a long time, but you also worked with him a long time. So there's a lot of Cody Meyer that can be found on Bass 365, and a lot more coming as well too.
So just my last tidbit, then I'm gonna shut up and you can close this thing down. I met Cody when he was a FLW co-angler his rookie year.
Wow.
And I remember Kurt at Dial, where he was actually working for Jackal then, said, "Hey, this kid, you need to get to know him." And, we've been friends ever since. So
there's definitely something, you can tell right away when you meet some of these new young anglers or whatever. They got it. Right. He's got it. And he's been proving it ever since. So it was awesome. Awesome. I think that was a great show tonight. It was always good hanging out with you no matter what.
Absolutely, man.
Definitely, I think. And we got a lot of great big things coming. We're this close to announcing some big things with Bass 365. So, guys, stay tuned. We appreciate that you were here. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out with it and follow us, Bass365 on Facebook, or Bass365.com on Facebook, Bass365.com on the web. Bass365 on Instagram, here on YouTube, and there might be some surprises coming your way.
That's right. And we got 2 shows next week. I'm not going to announce who the guest star right now, but it will be worth you tuning in to watch.
Absolutely. So every Tuesday and every Thursday, that's the way it's going to be from now on. Plus some neat surprises like Kevin.
It might be. I think I've got an idea for a surprise one tomorrow. We'll just have to see. And all I'm gonna say is first name starts with a J, last name starts with an L. We're gonna try to get him on.
Alabama Hammer. That's all I'm going to say. Ricky,
all right, Mikey, thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We hope you guys have a great rest of the week and good weekend, good fishing.
Catch some fish this weekend. Everybody get out and catch some fish. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and share them with us at Bass365 because we want to see it.
That's right.
Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.